So Sen, I'm going to be using the wok on the grill. It's pretty windy. Might want to position a few things to block the wind. There we go. You should be able to see okay. Really can't even see the flame from here, but it's going. So this is a traditional wok. This is the carbon steel. I think it's better than cast iron because, first of all, it's light by comparison and it does the exact same thing in terms of heat, and it's also porous the same way. I don't think it's quite as porous, which is a good thing, but it is still porous, so you still, you do have to oil it on all sides. And that's how it's seasoned, which you can see it's got a black spot in the middle. When you first buy it, it'll be all nice and like one color, but once you start using it, it'll darken. I'm using avocado oil because there's a few that you can use that can take really high heat. This being one of them, the other being grapeseed oil, but I don't like the taste of grapeseed. Avocado oil is a little more expensive, but it can take really, really high heat. And when you're using a metal that absorbs and reheats over and over and over again, it's a really good idea to choose an oil that can handle that. Because you can run a health risk if you're using an oil that that will degrade at those temperatures. So you can see it's smoking; it's really hot. So it's actually about ready. So cleaning wise, I just rinse it because it just takes vegetable matter anyway, so it really doesn't even matter. As long as it's dry, there's nothing white and fuzzy, it's good to go. What I have here, I'm going to add in to cook. These are actually 3 bell peppers I got at the farmer's market. And I also have 1 fresh tomato. You can use canned, it's fine. I have 3 cups of rice, 2 tablespoons of Cajun seasoning, just, right out of the container. 1 tablespoon of onion powder, just because I like it. And a full teaspoon, not tablespoon, teaspoon of salt. It will probably need more, but for right now, that's all I'm going to do. I also have leftover black beans and stuff in here that I'm just going to throw in at the end. But for right now, I'm just going to start cooking the peppers. Need a little oil to get started. I find that this works really well as a non-stick. It's actually better than a lot of my actually all except one of my non-stick pans. And the non-stick coating actually can't get up to these high temperatures. So if you're going to use a wok, there's no sense in getting one of those styles. Just get this. So peppers are in. I'm going to season them at the end because it's really easy to use too much salt. That's it. I'm going to let them sit on there and smoke for about a minute. So because these peppers are fresh, they have a lot of water in them. So the first time that I put them in the pan, I leave them in for a good while. I hate to say it because I know someone will find a way to prove me wrong, but you really can't quote-unquote burn anything in this. Yes, it will get a char, but it's not the same as a burn. On a stovetop, you can and will burn things, and it will taste bitter and disgusting, but there's something about this style that I will char things, and it just tastes like a grill. It's good. It's not burn taste. It's grill taste. So don't be afraid to leave things in here a bit longer than you expected. Of course, don't be silly about it. Don't leave whole peppercorns in there longer than they should, or garlic all by its lonesome longer than it should. But generally speaking, everything else is pretty safe being left alone for a while. So I think I'm going to start tossing it and check it and see how it's doing. Oh yeah, got some color. If you want to make it spicy, this is where you'd add your chilies. Just stay out of the smoke because you will pepper spray yourself. I don't have anything spicy because it's going to have a spice blend added later, so that'll make it too spicy, so I'm just going to leave it how it is. You can kind of see how it's looking, and repeat. It's got some pretty good color on it. I think it's ready for the rice. So I'm just going to dump this whole thing in. Right there. There's my rice. My tomatoes. And I'm going to incorporate it real quick, just to season the grains themselves. And it's fine if they toast up. I don't want to burn the spices, though, that are in this, so I don't want to, like, you know, walk away after doing this. So just kind of incorporate, which looks pretty good. And now I have my water, which I neglected to tell you about. So this is just to cook the rice. Rice is, generally speaking, a 2-to-1 ratio. Obviously, brown rice versus white rice, it's going to be different. Brown rice takes a little longer. Woo! I just got wind of the spices there. And brown rice, because of the fiber, is going to take a little more water too. So I'm just doubling. Not really measuring this. I mean, I only measured the spices because it was easy to do tablespoon or teaspoon, but it's not exact. This is actually a paella, just done in a wok. So I'm gently scraping the bottom to get anything that was stuck on to come up. I'm doing it gently because there's so much water in here that I don't want to splash it and burn my hand or get it on my clothes. So just resist the urge to, you know, go crazy. Cool. And I think that's good. So I'm going to let that cook down while I rinse some of this. Oh, and you know what? I'm also, this is a good time to put in the leftover beans because they're pretty stiff. They firmed up. I made these in the pressure cooker, and it'll just be very difficult to mix them in once the rice is dry and cooked. Plus this will add to the broth. And being a leftover item, this is a good way to use it up. So you're not just eating like a pile of beans. You don't have to. You know, you could do tacos with the beans and then add the rice on top, make it nice. But I'm just going to throw it all together because I like one pot meals and it'll make for a good burrito or salad. Just going to get that off of my spatula. And give it a little stir. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. This, oh yeah, that's right. The beans had whole chilies in there, but It was already cooked. I don't think it'll add too much more heat. A way to cut heat is with avocado or cashews, or really any fat will cut heat. So if you do make something too spicy, you could do that, you know, add guacamole on it or add a cashew cream. That'll cut it. Soy milk does too, so you can make it a creamier stew. Obviously make sure it's unsweetened and not vanilla flavored, but yeah, soy milk will cut the heat, and so will tofu. Okay, I think that's good. It looks like mud, but that is a very well seasoned broth right there. Just gonna let it cook up. It's bubbling nice now. So rice is gonna take generally about 15 minutes. Obviously this doesn't have a lid, so I may have to add more water. We'll just wait and see how it does. I'm in the open air like that. But essentially it's well seasoned. Broth is at its lowest level salt water. So having salt in it is enough to cook it and make it, you know, really nice. But having spices and all kinds of other things, and you don't have to use Cajun, you can use anything you want. You know, that's really up to you, whatever's easier. But so long as it's salt and has water, you can make this, and whatever veggies you have, throw it in or leave them on the side and make a sauce. It's up to you, but there's a lot you can do with this, and it's pretty easy. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. I might stir it just to make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom with such high heat. But other than that, I'm just gonna wait for the rice to finish. So it was starting to stick to the bottom because the rice is puffing up, and I'm actually gonna add a little more water just because I'd like it a little soupy. Not soupy, but, you know, kind of stew, brothy, like wet rice. You don't want to add too much, so just, you know, as you go, you can add more if you feel like it needs it. But I can see the grains are halfway cooked. So the middle is still very white with the outsides looking translucent. You don't want to stir rice too much. That's a rookie mistake, but being that this isn't a wok and it is very hot on the bottom, you do want to, you know, get it up off the bottom and keep an eye on it, but don't get in the habit of continually stirring it. So I went ahead and turned it down to about medium-low, just because it's reaching that end state. I don't want it cooking too fast to where I lose track of it, but I do need it to continue cooking, so just lowered the heat to slow the process down a little bit so I can keep a close eye because it's getting close to the end. You can see how it's forming a sauce. Anything I feel stuck, I'm just gonna scrape it off. No non-stick coating to worry about, so just, you know, loosen it up, mix it in. Really close. Almost there. Real close. You could almost eat it like it is, but it's just got it's a hair on the al dente side. Tiny bit longer, and it's done. It has a nice thick sauce too. It would be great. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn this off. There we go. And give it one last taste here. I'm going to pick a green that looks like it's questionable. Maybe done, maybe not. Yeah, done. Okay. Cool. So this has a nice gravy, you can see, nice and thick. Perfect amount of salt, which is why it's good to not add it in the beginning. Wait until the end and then add more. So if I had salted those peppers, this would have been way too salty, which would have been bad. You know, there's really no way to undo that. If it's too spicy, you can always fix it, but if it's too salty, it's going to take a lot to water it down to get it to where it's palatable, so be careful with the salt. But other than that, this is done, and ready to eat. We'll add some greens or have a salad or put them on top, or, you know, whatever you want. It's up to you.